I guess we are live now. So, what's going on, guys? It's Cheech from Crash This a Monster Truck Podcast. Actually, I am at back in for the holiday season, back home in West Virginia. Hillsburg, West Virginia, nice little city. Before near Pittsburgh, and I'm contacting you guys, sending some local stuff to some friends here, and see get them to watch the podcast here while going on there. Once again, thank you to High Octane Coffee, J Concepts, JB Scale Graphics, Justin Stories and his book, his comic books and his poetry books and stuff like that. It's pretty cool stuff. I want to thank MTRC. They're gonna be take a look. There's the vintage tractor pulling event just happened. I'm pretty proud. The Virginia Giant came through and did the 300-foot and left the front end up and did all that stuff. That was pretty. All Brothers Racing. Thank you very much for supplying us and also allowing me to put these on the trucks. We got these right here. Ooh, yeah, $5 a pop. We got this one and this one as a decal, a decal. So you can take a look at all this stuff here. $5 a pop for that, and also the cool thing is size are running that our guests are. It's cool enough they're willing to put these on their trucks too, like Wild Side with Zach Garner, Buckshot with the Buckshot truck. It's uh it was pretty cool to have that there. Hall Brothers Racing, all four race trucks, including the red truck, has the Crush This logos and stuff like that. Overkill Evolution has it. Black Stallion has it. A lot more trucks have them too, which is I'm excited about. So thank you for what you guys have done. Carol, I think I just cut in and out. 6B Apparel. These crew shirts are $100 a pop. Ask me or Brad. I got this, and Brad, when he's coming back, after the intro, he has the new waves. So we got those to take a look at those also. Once again, thank you to Travis Swillow. Just recently got his package from the giveaway that we had from High Octane Coffee, J Concepts, MTRC. Man, gosh, a lot of people. Justin Stories, everyone that came through with the random giveaway that we did with the random box of stuff, that was all donated. That was not a single penny pitched. No $100 gift cards. None of that. We did that all with the thanks of the people that help us out with this podcast. And another shout out to Andy Ulam. He pitched in some money for our podcast to help us out. As of right now, we got $25 on account, and that's a lot more than it was before at 25 because we ran. So a lot of this stuff comes about. And just giving you a heads up, Brad will probably talk about this later in the show. Uh, you may see him here at the beginning of the year. He's not gone. I'm sorry about the internet connection here. I don't know what's going on. But if you guys can hear me or see me, I'm sorry if that's going on, guys. We'll take care of that or try to fix it. I took off my phone. Maybe if my dad's watching to see if he can get off his Wi-Fi, see if that can work, but or maybe not. I don't know. Connection's unstable. Plug in. Okay. And StreamYard. But hey, thanks, Colby. And dominated that poll. It was awesome. Thank you very much. Yes, indeed. But outside of that, thank you for all your help. Next week's guest is actually going to be a recording. We talked about it about a couple weeks ago, but next week is pretty much free. We'll be starting to get ready for first quarter. Later that weekend, we will be going to Baltimore, Maryland, first show of the Monster Jam Central Tour. and we'll probably be leaving that Wednesday to head over Thursday to do some uh practices and stuff like that. So the shows are Friday, and I think it's 2 Saturday and 1 Sunday for Baltimore, I believe. I don't know off the top of my head. We have a lot of those shows that are going on, and we're gonna be doing that. So instead of a live episode, I am going to show a recording that I did. I did two recordings. One of them is Alan Pizzo, and the other one is Mike um Mike Nickel from Excalibur. So it's gonna be this is gonna be the first one with Alan Pizzo. So next week is not a live episode. Next week's a recording with Mr. Alan Pizzo that I did at the Hall of Fame. So just want to let you guys know about that. Also check out Brad's NHRA podcast that should be coming out soon. He's going back to the grounds that he walked on, and there's nothing better than, instead of 2,000 horsepower, we can listen to 10,000 horsepower. So take a look at that. Brad will give more information about that stuff too, and stop to love motors, loudness, going fast. I mean, you can't beat that. I still think a dragster could probably outdrink Brad drinking his new meal and go from there. But man, let's get this show started here. And none other than I call him a best friend, a great friend, someone that I thought I was in diapers eating probably apple juice, drinking apple juice and apples, watching TNT, tough tracks and power tracks and trucks and tractor power on the Nashville network, and watching him, and just he was one of the drivers like Dennis Anderson, Gravedigger, Gary Porter, and Carolina Crusher. The picture like Andy Bradfoot. I didn't know there was multiple Bigfoot drivers. I just knew Andy Brass. Then when you think about the Jersey Outlaw, you think about this guy, Mr. Mike Wine. So we're going to intro, and we'll have Mr. Mike Wine in just a couple minutes. So let's get this ball started.
This isn't your typical motorsports podcast. You're listening to Crush This, a monster truck podcast presented by High Octane Coffee and J Concepts. A show where we take you inside the minds of your favorite drivers, past and present, of the monster truck industry. And now, your hosts, Brad Shaw and Dan Chichagash. Buckle in. The show starts now.
And welcome, everybody, to a new episode of Crush This. As Cheech was saying, my name is Bradshaw, also known as the Monster Truck Knucker, and the guy in the middle of us, this is his third. He was on the audio, I think, twice with multiple episodes, but this is his first appearance with us live. Ladies and gentlemen, the man needs no introduction, but I'm going to give him one anyways. Mr. Mike Wine. Mike, how you doing tonight, my friend?
Doing excellent. We're getting a lot of rain. What you were telling me earlier, you're getting a lot of the cold weather.
Yeah. So let me explain this to everybody. Okay. I live in northern Alberta, Canada. Like I'm fairly up north. And yesterday, Grand Prairie, Alberta, Canada was the second coldest place on Earth. The only other place that was colder was somewhere in Russia or Siberia. Let that sink in, okay? And I took a screenshot yesterday of what the temperature was in freedom units, for you Americans. Look at that. Negative 45 without the wind chill, and with the wind chill, it was negative 56. Also, guys, Cheech will be right back. He's getting his internet fixed. So, like I said, this is our third time having you on the podcast. We've done the audio with you. I still remember the one audio session went for 3 hours and we got 3 episodes out of that one. So it's awesome to have you back on. And obviously with all the news about the TNT Unfinished Business, you being announced as the first driver coming back, driving the Jersey Outlaw again. Let's just get straight into it. How did this all happen? Because I know you guys have been talking about it on the Scott Douglas Media Twitch channel. But how did this whole thing kind of come about? Because this is something I feel like the sport has needed for a long time, kind of like an all-star event in a way, or how would you describe what's going on?
This is phenomenal. What's going on and everything, what's going on now and what's going to happen is because of Mike Harper. He was like Cheech. He's been a fan all of his life. His mom worked at the Omnimax, so he would go to all the truck and tractor shows, and he'd never miss a monster truck show. And just all of a sudden, about a year or so ago, Mike just started saying, this would be neat. I'll bring some of my older heroes back. Not old me. He just meant, the other old guys like Gary Porter, Kid Rarick, real old guys. And Mike Harper just started tossing around the concept because he has his own monster trucks now, and he does his own productions, does his own race and everything. And he thought, well, I own a lot of the bodies now. He's got Barefoot. He's got Carolina Crusher. He's got the Sheriff. He's got the Outlaw, of course, is his main truck. And he's been a fan of mine for years, and I didn't even know it. I mean, I had no idea. Of course, I would see Mike Harper out in Vegas at the World Finals, and I was very proud of him for buying the Outlaw, the name. And I mean, he's taken it to another level that is just unbelievable because he brought back old school, which is I know you have Monster Jam and other places. They'll go and let them walk around. They got security guards everywhere because you got to be careful. And they'll let them see the trucks, see the drivers and everything. With Mike Harper does it just like we did in the 80s. I mean, the trucks are down there while we're down there and we're working on the trucks and changing motors, transmissions, and everything. Mike Harper lets everybody walk around. You're walking around the pits. You're doing that. Hey, you want to get a picture? Get up on the tire. Get up there. The driver be glad to turn around and talk to you. It's so much. They're so involved now. He has got every single person from a 3 and 4 year old that can talk to a 70, 80-year-old man going to these shows, and they can see us. They can talk to us. They can see the trucks. They can see the history. It's neat. It's really neat. I mean, Monster Trucks has been around for so long, and it feels so good to, I never thought I'll be 60 in January. I never thought it would come full circle all the way back around from high-tech trucks, the best trucks in the world that are out there now for safety, for the fans, safety for the drivers, and for the families. I mean, the drivers can go back home to their families now. You can fly in, race on a weekend, go back home, do your regular job, or be with your family, and fly back out. With us, we stayed on the road. There's quite a few times I would leave the house a week before Christmas or the day after Christmas, and that's it. I might not come home for 3, 4 months, 5 months, or longer, depending on, we needed to make money and get our name out there. So it's fantastic to see it come full circle. And I'm so honored and so proud to be there from after the beginning started, to get away from the sport, to come back to the sport, to race with the new trucks, race with all these new guys, I shouldn't call them kids, 25, 30-year-olds, but race with the new kids, the new family of monster trucks and people. That's how I met Cheech. I mean, I don't know if people know that or not. Exactly how I met Cheech. Got together with David Smith. We've been long friends. And David called me up. And he said, I'm thinking about bringing King Crunch back. He said, but might need a hand putting a little bit of stuff on the truck or putting it back together. Hey, we're glad to fly out for a weekend and give you a hand. I think a weekend ended up turning out to be 2 months. So I flew to Texas, and here's just a frame sitting there up on jack stands, no rear ends, nothing in it, nothing at all, not wired, no shocks, no, just literally a frame sitting there. And between me and David Smith and some friends of his, we ended up putting that truck together. And our first show was in Georgia. And I was going to go out, run the first show, fly back home, do my normal job. And that was it. He goes, Mike, I need a favor. He said, can you maybe stay for just a little bit longer and help me out? So I ended up staying with him until the end. And we were teamed up, of course, with Adam Anderson. And it was fantastic. It was great. It was great. Kept me in the sport, kept me updated on the new stuff, which I'll never forget the old stuff. There's no way. And I'm going to prove that in Raleigh, North Carolina on April 15th and April 16th when I get out there and start whooping on everybody else that's out there. They thought I talked smack before. You cannot imagine what I'm going to be like at 60 years old, and I get one more chance to come back and do what I do best, race, run my mouth, and go fast.
Yeah, buddy. And the honor that I talked to Mike, and we're gonna think about doing a new shirt, hopefully when this comes in the beginning. And the idea for you, Brad, is they're gonna be on the back. It says it will take 10 Chevys to beat one Ford.
Oh, that's that. If you put that on a shirt, that's fantastic. Yep, I cannot wait for that. That saying started out in Freedom Hall, okay, Louisville, Kentucky, going against Dennis Anderson and the Black and Green Wrecking Machine Gravedigger. And what started out, a couple other drivers getting me to just go out and pick on him about his interview and everything else. Who would know that over 30 years later, everybody still remembers that saying, it'll take 10 Chevrolets to ever touch one Ford, is what I told Army Armstrong. And that was game on after that.
I didn't know if you wanted to. Cheech is gone again, figuring out his internet. So, this whole retro kind of old school thing has kind of been building for, like, I want to say the last 10 or so years, with the introduction of the Hall of Fame and, Jeff Cook, bringing back, some of the old school Leafer stuff and now coming into this event. And, there's been, you announced Gary Porter coming back with Carolina Crusher and Kid Rarig coming to drive Thunder Chicken, which I hope to goodness, this is just me being me. I hope to goodness that they stick with an S10. I hope to God they stick with an S10 for that truck.
Yes, I do too. I've not seen, I still remember the trucks the way they were back then. I've not seen the new trucks, the new bodies, but apparently they're all coming back as the original trucks. So this is great. Okay, you have to deal with the ugly yellow again of Kid Rare and Thunder Chicken, but it's going to be great. Just imagine. We talked about this, Cheech. I know, of course, this would be a dream for you, as much as it is me because I lived it, and other fans. Everybody's always talked all the time, and everybody's like, "Oh, wouldn't this be just so great if we could get some of the old or original monster truck drivers back together and just go to Dennis Anderson's diner and just set up a camera and a microphone and let them guys eat lunch and talk, and whatever comes out of it, it don't matter if it's old stories, new stories, of course, us picking on each other. And, I'm going to pick on them for driving a Chevrolet. I'm never going to let them live that down. That's for sure. But then all of a sudden, Mike Harper comes along and he did it. He's putting old school drivers together with new school technology, safety, and it's going to be a straight track, just a straight, fast course, the ones we ran outdoors, plenty of shut room. I keep forgetting to ask my carper the specifics on all this because I keep telling him, hey, we're going to be able to stop. We have to get down the other end, slow down, come back easy. He goes, Mike Wine, he goes, you're going to have 2 trucks there. And he goes, I don't care if one comes back. He said, I want you to run it. I want you to run it fast. I want you to run it hard. And then I think it was a good thing. I'm not sure. He goes, I want you to run it as fast as your mouth. Guess what, Mike Harper? It's game on now. Because it might take me a couple practice runs to catch up to my mouth. That's for sure. Oh, Lord. But
Man,
no,
man.
Good. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was about to say, and also, I mean,
I think you
I
still
missed
have.
it.
You're
I
still
missed
having
it, Claire.
some. You're still having some issues there, Cheech.
it's. I understand that, Brad. I'm trying to do as much as I possibly can.
Yeah. I'm just letting you know.
Uh,
We didn't hear the question there. I'm just letting you know that.
I know how to fix it. I don't have a long enough Ethernet cord, or I gotta move during the stream another room. But I was about to say, I get a chance to see you at some Monster Jam events.
Yes, it was great. That's how I met you. That's what's so great about this. I consider Cheech a little brother. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Cheech is my little brother. I mean, my wife loves him. My kids love him. Who can't love Cheech? I mean, for real. He was
I can
working.
think of one. They live down south of West Virginia. Anyway.
But I don't know. It was
Oh,
just
you're
great.
gonna be helping out during the stuff.
I think you
Yes,
just said you're going to be helping out during this upcoming season. Actually,
yes, he has with the Hall Brothers racing team. And that's so awesome. I mean, I've met Tim and Mark and them years ago. And then all of a sudden, our friendship just came back into play more and more. And Cheech said, Hey, Mike, he said, what are you doing this weekend? He said, would you mind come giving us a hand or whatever? And I said, well, how's Tim Hall feel about it? Is Tim okay with an old guy coming hanging out? And Cheech said, yeah. He said, Tim and Mark are fine with it. So I started going to some of their shows and helping out and getting to know their trucks more and more. And it just started being so awesome. It's like the Hall brothers have a family, and it's a tight and close family. They care about everybody, and they let me into their family. They let me around their drivers, their trucks, their crew members, and I got to work with Cheech again. And they even have upcoming events. So I'm definitely going to try to make Toledo when they're in Toledo, Ohio, because I think that's about like Tacoma, Washington I used to do. I think it's 3 days, 5 shows. That's killer. That's killer on the drivers, killer on the trucks. And it is constantly just running around like a chicken cut off, your head cut off. But, Kid Rare, that was no pun intended. But I like to be there for them. They're going to be in Columbus and Cincinnati, Ohio. I live just north of Cincinnati, Ohio. So flat out, Cheech hooked me back up with Tim and Mark, and they said, we'd love to have the help. They even told me at the Monster Truck Hall of Fame, hey, any one of my shows you want to go to, you're more welcome to go. And I said, all right, there's only one thing. Got to get me a shirt. Yeah, you got to get me a Hall Brothers racing shirt, or you got to get me a Dodge shirt. Got to make me look professional so I can be out there, because when I'm out there, I represent them. I represent their company. I represent Dodge. And I mean, I'm a good looking man, but I got to wear a good looking shirt to go with it.
So, with this upcoming event with the TNT stuff, it's, and people, kind of more modern fans would know you driving, Monster Mutts and, and that kind of career that you had there with Monster Jam. Is there any, are you nervous coming back into driving some of these modern trucks, but are you like, let's just go, let's just do it?
Basically, yep. Of course, my long time friend from the 80s, Mike Wells, he got me back into it. He's the one that said, hey, he said, I got something going on. You still driving semi trucks? I said, all my life. That's all I've known for almost 40 years now. And he said, I need somebody to fly out to San Francisco and be with Dennis Anderson with Digger. And I thought it was a joke at first because everybody knows me and Dennis go back and forth, Ford versus Chevrolet. It's always going to be that. It's good to have a rivalry. And so I flew out there and got out there, and his crew guys were going to fly home because they had been on the road for months and haven't been home. So I went out there, helped out while I was out there. That's when I reintroduced myself to Tony Farrell. That's when I reintroduced myself with Rick Swanson. And that's awesome. I mean, Rick is a great guy. Of course, his son, Eric, buddy, that's my nephew. Yeah. Eric Swanson is my nephew. I got to tell everybody that. I mean, I love him like a nephew. And Rick and Jill, oh, bless your heart. Poor Jill will feed me, take care of me, and make me cookies every time I go to visit them. But I ended up being friends with them again and their trucks. And that's when I ended up meeting Deborah with Medusa, and another crew guy named RL. Ended up meeting him out there. Well, I'm old school. You get there and the truck don't start. You just start ripping into it and taking it apart. And so I met Chad Fortune. Everybody remember big, tall Chad Fortune. Oh, yeah. He was in the basketball truck, and I missed this. Thank you. I messed that name up. I know Carl Malone. I can tell you the color of the trucks, but I keep forgetting the name of it. I know it's horrible. So I walked around, was looking at Blue Thunder, and they were telling me that, and of course, that's a Ford. What truck do you think I'm going to go with?
It's just like you get there, you see a Ford, automatic gravitation towards that.
Oh, yeah, because I went to go help out Gravedigger. And then all of a sudden, here's Tony Farrell and built Ford Tough Blue Thunder. It's like, whoa, this truck looks good and it's clean. Tony Farrell kept his trucks spotless. Sorry, I tapped on the table. I just seen the shake.
It's all good. It's all good.
Oh, so Farrell kept his trucks spotless. I mean, he would hand wash them with a glove, checking frames, checking cracks, checking everything. That thing was showroom ready to go at all times. So, man, I was really getting excited looking at this truck, going over it and sitting there talking to Chad Fortune, sitting there talking to Tony Farrell, sitting there talking to Rick Swanson, and met some of my other guys that I've known for years. And I've been watching. Isn't it funny? Mike Wine's telling you some of the guys he was watching on TV. That's weird. I mean, everybody tells me, oh, Mike, I remember watching you in the 80s on TV. Now it's the year 2000. And I'm standing there going, oh, man, I remember watching you on TV. I said, because they have so much coverage, Monster Jam does.
Yeah.
But it just felt weird to say that to somebody else. So we were sitting there, and Medusa's truck wouldn't start. And I didn't think nothing about it. They pulled power forward out, and they were putting the tires on it. So I went in there, pushed the button, and it locked. Clunk real quick. Well, that's normal. It's normal if you leave your alcohol on. What it does, it just feeds back through the injection unit, fills the cylinders up, and that's the only reason it won't turn over. So I just grabbed some tools, crawled up in the trailer, started pulling the spark plugs out, letting the alcohol and everything run out of it. Went to go to push the button to let the motor turn over to blow it all out. So here comes this little guy named RL, which was her crew guy. And that little sailor, he barely stands, maybe 5'4", 5'5". He laid into me. I mean, he's never knew me, never met me in my life, didn't know who I was. But RL laid into me. That's his truck. You don't never touch nobody else's truck and blah, blah, blah. You're just a truck driver. But he didn't know my history behind me, So I just walked out of the trailer, got there, and Tony Farrell comes over, and Farrell says, just sit right here, he said, and just watch him. He said, he'll get it running. He said, he's a good mechanic. So me, him, and Chad and Rick Swanson sat there. He finally got the truck fired up, backed it up. I said, hey, you want me to help you put the tires on? Nope, I don't need no help. This is my job. Okay. So I started teasing. I said, well, sir, I really want to learn how to put these tires on. I said, I've seen you guys. I said, you want me to go get a forklift and come over and help you, or go get a Bobcat or a skid steer and do it that way? And he just turned around and told me, shut up and leave him alone. He'll do it. He don't want me to get hurt. Can't even imagine how many times I've put tires on and off in my career. I'd say at least once or twice.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed the show, went up and met Dennis, and now his wife, but it was his girlfriend then, met Krista. And he says, all right, Mike, would you go up in the stands and just, sit up there with her and we get done? My crew guys will break it down. We'll load it up in the rig. We'll go to the hotel, leave out in the morning. We're going to drive straight from San Francisco to Jacksonville, Florida. He goes, I hope you drive like you always drove. I said, yep. I said, nothing's changed. I said, I'm good for a couple 100 miles. So show got over. Everybody's putting their trucks up. And I went over and seen if Rick Swanson needed anything, because he was always – Rick Swanson does shows by himself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, now his son's there, and believe it or not, Rick stepped back from the picture. Of course, him and Jill, they do the production side of it. They do the booking side of it. But here comes Eric. Their son came in just full board. Eric's got both trucks now. Eric's got the semi truck, the hauler. Him and his girlfriend, they got it now. I mean, he just takes it and runs with it. Yeah. So I'm very proud of my nephew. Yep. But I bounce around a lot. So
oh no, hey, just keep on going, man.
I'm sorry.
I love the stories.
Yeah. So we ended up, we're going to leave. So got there in the morning and we're throwing everything in the rig. And Dennis goes, well, he said, I'm going to get a couple hours nap. He said, you all right starting off driving? I said, sure. So him and Krista got on the back. They went back and forth from the back bunk up to the front for a little bit. We got going, and of course, I know him as Round Man. And we ended up, he got in the rig with Mike Wells. I got in the rig, and a couple other guys were in their rigs and some owner operators. And here we start taking off for Florida. Well, on the way, me and Dennis are talking about, oh my God, you imagine that? Me and Dennis, we're in a semi locked up together, Ford versus Chevrolet. And we just started telling stories and remembering the good days. And oh my God, of course, it's always got to be Porter brung up. It's always got to be Gary Wiggins brung up. It's always got to be my best friend ever. And we're brothers. You got to bring up Johnny K with the Buffalo trimmer. I mean, all the crazy stuff we would do together with his little brother and everything. And it was just, we just talked about everything from the 80s and what has happened. And hey, you still where did you meet your girlfriend now? And he's like, what's going on with you? And I told him, of course I got married and met her at a monster truck show in Cincinnati in 1989.
I'll just say this, people that are listening, monster truck fans, if any of you guys are single, Mike just proved it. There is hope that you'll find somebody at a monster truck show somewhere.
Yeah, because you figure I was 29 years old, getting ready to go on 30, and all of a sudden, I didn't want nothing to do. You're gone. You're gone for Christmas. You're gone from your family. I still lived when I started out with my mom and my dad. My dad was in the Air Force. And so we worked out of Pensacola, New Jersey for Nick Rossi. God, how do you explain Nick Rossi? Very, very, very intelligent, very smart. I mean, some people might say he was crazy ever hooking up with me or getting me to work on his trucks. He gave me the opportunity to get in monster trucks. He gave me the opportunity of a job. He gave me the opportunity of driving a semi truck when we weren't racing monster trucks and weren't working at the shop. He's the one that introduced me to Bob Fisher with Liquidator. and UFO, and that's how I met Mike Wells, and he introduced me to so many people. Uh, yeah, I got to say, God bless to Nick Rossi. He is, yep,
Yep.
Even though we haven't talked in a long time, we message each other or text each other. And Nick Rossi, you've got to be in Raleigh, North Carolina, on the 15th and 16th, buddy. The Outlaw's coming back.
Yep.
Mike Wine's coming back. You've got to be there. If it wasn't for you, there would not have been a Mike Wine in the Jersey Outlaw. So, yeah, I can't thank him enough for that, Brad.
That's I can't wait for that. One story I got to get from you is that there was a story that you told on one of the early episodes. It still makes me laugh to this day. It involved you, a hotel room, and Dennis Anderson's wallet.
Oh. That was when I went out to San Francisco.
Okay. I love that. That story still gets me to this day. I remember I almost was I was dead on the floor laughing because of that joke the last time. I need you to retell it, please.
Yes, that was San Francisco when I went back out there to help him and drive the rig. It's like, oh man, I forgot my wallet. How do you forget your wallet? But it was one of those last minute things. It's like here coming on the podcast. I thought I was going to talk on my cell phone. So I had my cell phone sitting there and I'm getting ready to answer you guys and just talk to you. And then all of a sudden, I think what was it, Brad? 5 minutes before the show?
About 5 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, you guys said, no, Mike, it's a podcast. You have to get on the computer. Mike Wine does not know computers. I mean, if it wasn't for Annette, and if it wasn't for my girls, I wouldn't have a computer in front of me. I can't even tell you which button now does what. Well, you think I'm kidding? I get a list on a piece of paper. Push this button to turn on. Push this button.
Yeah.
I turned mine off. I mean, so.
All right, how about that, guys? I think I'm at a different spot of the house.
Oh, fantastic.
We'll see how it goes. Hopefully your internet's fixed there, but it's, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I went and I called her right away. And don't you believe this is unbelievable? You imagine now going through an airport or anywhere without your ID. That's not ever going to happen again. That was just a fluke. So she mailed my wallet out. So, but it went to the hotel room and she put my name on it and it was supposed to go to the front desk. I went to the racetrack and that's when all that was going on with Medusa and everything, the motor being locked up and working on the trucks. Well, when I got back the following day, walked up to the desk and I said, hey, did a package come in for me or anything like that to get my wallet? My wife sent it to me. They're like, she said, let me check. She went, yes, sir. You already got it. Said, you got it this morning. I said, no, it's evening. I'm just now getting back to the hotel. So no, Mr. Wine, I've got it that it already came to you. I said, well, I must have picked it up and threw it in my bag. And I said, I just forgot about it. I said, I forgot the key to my room. I said, which floor is Dennis Anderson on? She said, well, I'm not allowed to give that out. I said, no. He's got my key to my room. I said, so I need to go to Dennis's room. And I said, and get my stuff from him and meet up with him. I'm working with him this weekend. Oh, yeah. And say she said room 405 or something like that. Oh, thanks a lot. I said, he knows I'm coming. So I went up to the room, knocked on the door, and the door barely opened. All right, slammed that door open, come running in there, hollering and screaming. I didn't know he had his girlfriend in there, which is now his wife. But I didn't know he had his girlfriend and all in there. And I'm yelling and screaming. And he's standing there in his boxers. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of my room. I said, where's my wallet? So he ended up walking out in the hallway with me. He was telling me about his wife now, Krista. Very sweet lady. Very nice. Great head on her shoulders. Yeah. That's probably a great thing that happened with Dennis. All of us sooner or later need somebody behind us saying, stop, don't do that. Don't wreck that. You're going to jail. Stop doing that.
I have that person in my life now, and I will tell you, it is a godsend.
You better believe it, especially with me. So, And of course, I've grown up and changed a lot. BS. But I ended up getting my wallet, going back downstairs, and was eating. So you got to figure all I was eating was whatever they had at the racetrack, either potato chips and pop and junk food. Cheech, I tell you, sometimes at the show office, there's no telling what they'll have, but they're going to have a lot of candy. Mike wine and candy does not work. A lot of Mountain Dew, a lot of pop, a lot of snacks, Slim Jims, But I was living on snacks and junk food for a day, but until I got my wallet back from Dennis. But that little schnot, he went and got my wallet, told him he was me, and had my wallet in his room. You imagine turning your credit cards loose with Dennis Anderson?
Oh no.
So it all worked
John
out great.
Cisak was wondering about asking you about a tattoo.
John, oh, how's he doing at the rest home? I mean, we did a podcast, and I know they brought him out in a wheelchair and, took his oxygen mask off so we could talk to him. No, John, I love John. I love him to death. I didn't mind it, but imagine on Monsters on Main Street with Blue Thunder, me, Tony Farrell, Charlie Hawkins, all of us there, Norm Miller there, and we're going to go out to dinner. Of course, it was Monsters on Main Street built. Blue Thunder was going to be on Main Street, wide loaded. Everybody's going to dinner, getting a picture with the truck. Shaw Ford was there, all the representatives, even John Cisak. We have pictures of me, him, and Sophia in a parking lot. We're swinging her back and forth in between us. And John, so I'm not going to go out to dinner, with you guys with that. You guys go to dinner. And it was me and my wife, and it was Lydia and Sophia, my kids. Well, here's Bucky and all them were staying back at the hotel. So, and RL, they're staying there at the hotel. And they got my kids some chalk and all, and they're laying on the ground and making it look like my kids were dead and other people were dead, making chalks on the ground out in the parking lot. Me and my wife went to dinner. We came back that evening. Bucky and them borrowed my wife's van. They went out drinking. So imagine 4 of them in a van drinking. Bucky sitting up front. He started to get sick. When we got back, we're finding all this out. We walk into the hotel room. It's John Cisak. Bless his heart. Great dad. Horrible babysitter. But here's John Cisak sitting there, and they're all watching TV. And we walk in. Sophie, all the way around here's got tattoos and a permanent marker all around on her. Lydia's got tattoos. Lydia's got tattoos going across her arm. We're like, what in the world? And the kids are like, oh, we had so much fun. We went to the bar and we ate pizza with John. So while we're out to dinner, John Cisak took my kids to the bar and ate pizza with them and took a permanent marker and gave both my kids tattoos. That started off the conversation when we got back to the hotel room. So in the morning, we wake up, we walk outside, and here's all these prints on the ground where everybody's laying on the ground. They're making marks like, a crime scene with the chalk. And we're thinking, oh, my God, this is just so funny. Well, here comes hotel manager. They threw a fit. We had to end up renting a pressure washer and pressure wash the driveway and everywhere in front of people's rooms where they did not allow the kids out there with chalk. It would have rained. It would have been gone, but It was okay. It would have been gone. It was all right. So we're like, okay, well, we'll go. We'll get some stuff. Let's go get some stuff for the hotel room before we go to the arena. We went to get in the van, open the van door. I went to get in and sit down. It's like, what is this? It's like it was a smell of perfume and a smell of the air fresheners you put up in the mirror, and just so much smells hitting you. My wife opened the door, and Annette's looking around. It's like, what in the world? On the headliner, it started. I guess they finally told us. He started getting sick. He leaned back, covered his mouth. It started spraying out of his mouth on the headliner, all the way across the front, onto the dash, the floor, in the air vents, everywhere in my wife's van. Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Oh no.
Yes.
Oh no.
He christened the van.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
John Seasock, babysitter of the year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. John is an awesome human being. John can work on Jeeps. He's got an awesome business going on. And God help his daughter. He's got now. I'm sure that little one's got tattoos. I'm surprised. I mean, I can see John doing the clip-on earrings, and yep. God bless that little girl. She's going to grow up tough, but she's going to grow up. She's cute as can be, but she's going to grow up like a beautiful person like John. But I'm telling the world right now, if you can see me, you can hear me. Don't let John near a magic marker and your children in a bar. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Cheech, I'm glad to see you're back, buddy. I can hear you great. I can see you great.
Yeah, got her going on now, full trucking.
Oh,
So
fantastic.
got her fixed and
Full tilt boogie.
well, so I full boogaloo. I'll tell you that much. But
Well,
man, I don't know the stories that you heard, but Brad, thank you for pulling the ship on some stuff that goes on. Hopefully everyone's enjoying it and everything like that. A question though, did the markers come off?
yes. I think they came off easier than the regurgitation. I'll be nice and say that in the van. Now, I keep getting text messages. If somebody wants to join in or somebody wants to listen to us, how do they go about that, Cheech? Do they go to Crush This Podcast?
On Facebook. We're on Facebook. If they have Facebook, or on YouTube. YouTube, type in Crush This Monster Truck Monster Truck Podcast. Crush This Truck Podcast on YouTube.
Can I tell them that right now?
How about this? I'll send you the link to our YouTube so you can send it to the guy.
Fantastic. I'll tell you who it is.
Speaking of which, while I'm doing that,
Who is it, Mike?
BC O'Neill with Blue Crush Racing Team. Man.
Yeah,
shout out to BC O'Neill.
I love BC.
So, yes, BC
while I'm doing
wants to get on here.
While I'm doing this, Mike, how about tell the people about, this event in April. It isn't the first time, long time that you have driven a monster truck. You actually driven a couple trucks for Roger in 2021. So how was that experience like?
Oh, it was, I'm telling you, Roger and Kathy have two beautiful trucks. I mean, they are the bootlegger and County Mountie. God, thank you so much, Roger and Kathy. He gave me a call. Well, I seen him and I was helping out Christensen with Bigfoot. He called me, said, hey, I went back to Bigfoot. He said, I'm going to be in Kentucky. He said, I would love for you to come out and hang out. And I said, sure, I'd love to come hang out with Bigfoot. Of course, there's another Ford, so I got to be there. I don't know if anybody's recognized or not. I still like my Fords. I'm still going to support my Fords. But I went out there and I'm helping Christian, and I went over and was seeing them and talking with them and everything. And he's like, hey, crawl up in my trucks. You think you could ever fit in my trucks? I got up in the seats. Oh, these things are state of the art. The extra tubes, the extra roll bars going from the front to the back. And they are set up for a backflip. They are set up for a barrel roll. They're 100% safe. I mean, you just feel safe when you sit in them. So I'm sitting in the trucks. I'm like, yeah, I can fit into both of them. I said, the one's a little close up top, but that was identical to Monster Mutt. Same way with Mutt. I was close up top in it until I laid the seat back a little bit, stretched my legs out. But Roger said, okay. He said, maybe every now and then, he said, I might need somebody to give me a hand. Would you be willing to help me? He said, sure. Christensen was all set up. I started just doing what I do. I started nutting, bolting his trucks and going over stuff. And me and Roger and Kathy talked more and more. And he said, well, I'll be giving you a call. We got done with that show that weekend and I think we ended up at a bar where they were shooting billiards and went all around, everywhere around Kentucky to try to find something at 1 o'clock in the morning. So we found a bar that serves cheesesteaks, hamburgers, everything. It was fantastic. They had a full menu. So we're in there and we're talking. And he turned around to me. He said, hey, I got a show coming up. And he said, might need a hand with. He said, do you mind, coming up there? I said, no, I'll be glad to. Cheech, I wish I remembered the dates. I'm sorry. I keep cliff notes to keep remembering dates and stuff. I forgot to write that down. Ended up driving to go meet him and Kathy. I got there maybe half hour or so before they did. So I was in my truck, of course, and got up there and was checking it out. And we found a spot, called. We were talking to each other back and forth on the phone. Called, we got a spot because, it's always important. I mean, it's not a toaster thing like Heidi and John Moore will tell you. You remember that from the Hall of Fame, don't you, Cheech? Heidi said it was a toaster test.
Yeah.
Heidi Moore, John would have her get out of the truck, walk around with a toaster, and plug it into all the sockets till they found which one had power, and that's where they'd park their rig. Well, that's what we did. And he pulled the rig up there. We plugged it in so you'd have to run your generator. And Roger pulled the trucks out of there. And we started nutting and bolting and fueling them and going through the shocks, putting the hood and everything on where you put the two trucks in the trailer. Cheech, I know you're aware of that. Got to take one of them. You got to take something off to make two of them fit. They get a hit either on the bumper or with the tires. And so he had the hood and everything off, a bootlegger. Beautiful truck. It was a Ford motor. Doesn't get no better than that. And we put them together and we're walking around. We're enjoying it. All of a sudden, I keep hearing this one voice. I know it was a deeper, older voice. And I heard, boy, you still talk like you used to. You have not changed a bit. And I'm leaning over and we're changing the neutral safety switch on the transmission of my truck, bootlegger. And all of a sudden, somebody grabbed me from behind. I turn around. It's Jack Cabona. I have no idea how long it's been since I have seen Jack. I mean, oh my God, you imagine turning around 20 years later and seeing Jack behind you. So, of course, I turned around, gave him a big hug. And because we were family back then, still are. Everybody still is. And he said, come here. He said, when you get a chance, come over here and look at my truck. God, Cheech, I should have sent you these pictures. God, I could have sent you the pictures of County Mountie and Bootlegger and all of us standing there together. And I walked around the corner and I'm standing there in front of Jack's semi-truck. Here's the original sideboard chassis, Cheech. I remember that chassis. I remember that truck. I remember working on that truck. He said, well, get up here. So I got up in sideboard. You talk about bring back memories. So I was sitting there. Me and Jack took a picture together. Cheech, I'll send you them pictures. So next time we're on the podcast, if you're crazy and you want me to ever come back on again, which I'll come on your podcast, buddy, anytime. And I'll give you pictures and stuff like that to go by. See the old fart. So, wow, look at that old guy. That's Jack Cabona. But we hung out and they said, hey, Roger said, it's been a little bit since you've been in the truck. 5 years. He said, but I've been in BC O'Neill's Blue Crush. Buddy, you don't get no better than that. 540 cubic inch. It is a Chevrolet fiberglass body, full tube chassis, front engine. I loved it. I love his truck. He's getting a new one built, and he's going to let me play around in the other new one that's being built. Hopefully, it should be done by the end of April or May. So I'll have a lot of practice when April 15th and April 16th, when I am in Raleigh, North Carolina in the Outlaw. Could you imagine how wound up I'm going to be after that to get in a mega truck and go to Florida and race with it? God help both chassis and both owners. but got to race.
Speaking
Got
of
to get
which,
out.
what's the difference between? Oh, sorry, Mike. I was about to say, what's the
No,
difference between the
I just
Mega
got,
Mud Truck and the Monster Truck?
believe it or not, uh, there's some that the mega mud trucks are still like we used to. We used to start out with a stock frame, put tubing chassis, all the tubing on top of it, the 2.5-ton rear ends, the 5-ton rear ends. And now these guys are building full blown tube chassis, 2x4 tubing frame with the square tubing, then all the tubing on it, the identical cradle carriages, SCS cases, rear engines, custom axles, the orbital valves. Cheech, the only thing different is the Clark planetaries or Pettibones. The planetary setups on them. They don't run planetaries, don't need to, and the tires. You can get in BC O'Neill's truck right now and throw Clark planetaries on it. You got a monster truck. You have a Blue Crush monster truck. Some of them are unbelievable. These guys are putting. I've seen some guys that were there, and I'm talking to them, and they're all chrome. They're powder coated chassis. Everything on them is either stainless, fully polished, chrome, the best of the best interiors. These are show trucks, and they're taking them in mud, 4 foot, 5 foot deep, mud up to the grill bumper that I can walk underneath of some of these trucks. And I asked that one guy, I said, "Oh my God." I said, "What do you got in this?" He goes, "Oh, this one was a reasonable one." He said, "Just a little over 300,000." It's like $300,000 to advertise. You know, they either owned a 4-wheel drive shop in Florida or carpet business. $300,000 truck to go run and race in the mud. It's unbelievable. It brought me into a totally different world. I was there when Tom Mintz was mud racing. Cheech, you remember they had mud racing with us with the tractor pulls. So it was great. I mean, I remember Mud Patrol and of course the Blue Ribbon Bandit with Tony Farrell before he was a monster truck driver. And it brought me back to a lot of good memories. So I went from monster trucks from the starting, full circle, all the way back to the new trucks and what I'm getting ready to do in April, to the mud trucks that started out in the 80s, all the way around full circle now to be with BC O'Neill and the Blue Crush Racing Team, and him letting me drive, him letting me crew, him letting me hang out for the weekends. I can't believe my life. I never, there's no way I never would have thought 40 years ago I would meet someone at a monster truck show, Cheech. I would come back in the new monster trucks. We would become friends. Scott Douglas, I've known, I can honestly say, over half my life. I'm doing Scott Douglas podcast with an old friend, talking with old friends about monster trucks still. Monster trucks are in my heart. It's never going to leave me. Hopefully, when I'm buried, it would be so cool for my wife or kids to take some of my T-shirts or my crew shirts and put them in there with me. That's part of my life. It always has been. It's been my wife's life, my kids' life, everything. So but to go full circle and be almost 60 years old, still be racing monster trucks, still be talking to you guys. Oh my God. Cheech, would you ever think that I never thought 30 years ago, I'm getting everybody, shut up, Mike. Shut up, Mike. Mike, just shut up. Mike, just shut up. I mean, you got Gary Porter saying, will you just shut up finally from talking like this, to coming back, doing interviews, talking on TV with Monster Jam, getting together with Mike Harper. Mike Harper wants me to be like I used to be. He wants me to turn up the volume, to being on Scott Douglas podcast and being on your podcast, wearing TNT. Did you ever think you'd see that with the Jersey Outlaw and Mike Wine being turned loose to talk, telling stories for over 35 years? This has been a blessing. No ifs, ands, or buts. This has been a blessing. So, and I appreciate you too. I mean, I know there's a lot of other ones you can interview, a lot of other ones you can bring back. But you guys, I really appreciate it. Wanting to talk to an old guy again and hear old stories, and I can't wait for the
Ah,
future.
you're not
When we start
old
to
guy.
help
You're a
people.
young guy.
Yeah.
Your mother raised an angel.
And believe it or
But
not,
you know what, Mike? You could have went to another cast or another group and get interviewed too. But you know what? I do enjoy, your company, and I think it's awesome. You're one of our OG guests, and still today, people still listen to the audio version that you had when we were on for almost 3 or 4 hours long.
oh, it's Cheech. I went from meeting you, you meeting me, and we didn't meet up right away. I mean, I was with Dave Smith, working with King Crunch and working with the trucks, and of course, Adam Anderson. He's going to keep you busy. You're working on that truck 24/7. I mean, that's the truth. But went from all of a sudden here you were working on Lindsay Wink's truck, the Lucas Crusader, and working on that truck. I came over and you're working on it by yourself. I came over and me and you just started working together. That's how we met. Isn't that crazy? That's and we met by working on monster trucks.
Remember the long hours?
Oh,
Remember
oh,
the
do
long
you
hours on seeing those shocks on your truck, and then
Florida? That's what I was
that
going
was
to
a
say.
pain in
You
the
remember
posterior end.
Florida? We took King Crunch out for a display. We took King Crunch out for the pit party. And Jimmy Kohler said, take the shocks off. He said, I'll help you go through them again, Mike. We've already had them off 3-4 times trying to get these shocks to works with 3-inch accumulators. First ones to ever get them, first ones to ever try them. So it was take apart, put together, take apart, put together, trying to get them to work. I mean, we had everybody, Adam Anderson helping me. We had Jimmy Kohler helping me. We had Lindsay Wink, which Lindsay's great on shocks. Lindsay helping me. Everybody trying to help me take these shocks apart every weekend. Well, I had to get the truck out there for the pit party. Here comes Cheech. Here comes Parker. Here comes Bobby. Here comes everybody. He said, Mike, that ain't no big deal. I said, let's get it out there. And while it's out there, let's take the shocks off of it and we'll rebuild them and run them back out there one at a time. Well, we had a metal bar made up. And we ended up going out there, and here's Cheech. Cheech got his trucks all set up. Cheech was helping everybody else. All the crew guys got together. Man, that was great. That's like the old days. All the guys got together, I'm sure, to help the old guy. Everybody got together in the pit party with everybody around. Cheech is up top. Cheech is taking the top coats off. We're blowing the nitrogen out of the shocks to get them to collapse. We took all the shocks off the truck, take them back to the trailer. Cheech, I'm trying to remember, how long was our pit party? Was it an hour or 2 hours, Cheech?
Like
Can
an
you
hour.
remember?
We yeah, it was an hour. We had that metal bar. So you drove the truck in with that metal bar so we get one shock in. And then we started rotating. Like one crew was grabbing a shock. By the time it just happened in like an hour and a half.
Oh, yes. It was just, we had them apart, went back, all of us rebuilding them. And after we were rebuilding them, guys, you were Cheech. You had your quad out there. We're rebuilding them. And Jimmy Kohler's out there, but he left all his tools. He left his trailer open for me because I had changed some Schroeder valves and some valving in them and everything, the washers, dampenings. And we're changing everything. And we're filling them up. We're bleeding. We're old. We're handing them out the door to Cheech and 2 other crew guys. And they're going out during a pit party, putting the shocks on the monster truck. And you got to figure it right after the guys are out there signing autographs. We come back, or they get lined up in line, and they go out and start racing. So we totally rebuilt every single
I remember me, Parker, and Woos, while you had King Crunch parked, we got the jack, raised it up, the pressure for each of the shocks while the truck was getting ready for intros. Like,
yes.
The truck's already parked for intros, and we're gassing up the shocks to get ready to go for everyone was on full boogaloo on that day. And then I remember later that week, remember when David got you the old step side Chevy body, the 72 or the C10 body? I mean, it was before Indy, but we were at the Feld shop, And
we're at Feld Shop in Florida. And that's when Woos, they were getting
One left the
tired. I
building.
mean, we were already there for 15 hours, and everybody's getting tired. And the more I get tired, the more I get wound up. Don't I cheat? It's like I don't have a level to calm down at midnight, 1, 2, 3 in the morning. I step up the pace. Well, here they bring this couch out. That was Georgie Bellhands with the Mohawk Warrior. They're bringing his couch out and his stuff out, and they're setting them up there. And we started mounting the body, the square body. Now you got to remember, David had this body delivered out there. It was a beautiful body, painted, wrapped, everything completely done. It had stock fender wells. Everything was stock on it. So I tried to call Dave a couple times because I really wanted permission. He only had one body. I really wanted permission before I start cutting these fender wells out and start cutting stuff up. Couldn't get hold of him. So here we're all standing there, Cheech. And that's when we ended up just getting the Sawzall out, started cutting. We're making wheel wells. We're just doing whatever we want to do. We had the stereo cranked up. Oh my God, we're getting stupid and crazy working on monster trucks. It's like 2, 3, 4 in the morning.
Remember when John and Woos got the little the trailer bucket, the hook on the trailer to bring the trailer inside, and it was going wow, nah, 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 nah. And we got in trouble because it was a noise ordinance, and they got in trouble because we were moving trucks. They couldn't bring the trailer inside the building, so we took the trailer out. So we loaded the monster trucks up at like around 4 in the morning, and we got yelled at pretty good. But it is what it is. But it was all-nighter.
And then, then Woos, he had to end up getting Digger done. And after they got him and Parker got Digger done, and I remember, don't you remember, Cheech, beside the building, you had a scale where you could scale the semi trucks because everybody was getting caught for being overweight because you put the quad up in the back, in the back behind the tires. Everybody was getting busted overweight on the scale. So they had a scale at Feld Entertainment in Florida. Everybody's supposed to go across it with a scale. So Moose goes, I always wondered what this truck actually weighed. He said, so full of fuel, fired up Digger out of Anderson's truck, drove out the back, around the side, up the side to drive where the semi trucks come in, pulled it up on the scale. I even got that in pictures and videos. I need to send that one to you, Cheech. And he scaled the truck and then drove it back. We got in trouble for that one too. Because we had the RII, we had a radio. I mean, I don't remember if they were charged or if they were even on, but we did have a radio. And
they were more concerned about the noise.
Oh, yeah. All the other businesses around and everything. And, what would it be like having 30, 40 monster trucks starting up inside a warehouse? And they do. They have to. I'd say, well, Cheech, you would know that more than me. How many monster trucks are usually – now, man, I've been in there where there's been 10 monster trucks working on them. How many
most I ever seen was 20.
Was there really 20 trucks?
20 is the most I've seen in one building.
That's not at a show. That's where they work on them.
No, that's at the.
That was in Florida. Okay.
20 of them, and where we work on. Yep, in Florida. Yeah.
Okay. Because I've seen 10 in there, and I thought 10 trucks inside, tore down, completely. Now here's the monster trucks on this side. Behind us was a fabrication into weld shock. Walk down the hallway. There's a complete room for the shock set up. The building was amazing, and they let us use the building. So here I am again. Took the shocks off. We're rebuilding the shocks again while we were there in Florida to go to Indianapolis with a new square body. Now, I'm Ford versus Chevrolet, but Chevrolet square body, that's a beautiful truck. A square body Chevrolet, yes, is a beautiful truck. I'll admit that. But we got the truck all done, all set up. It's like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. It's insane hours. And I think, Cheech, what time were we starting there? 7 o'clock in the morning? At Feld?
Yeah, and we left the building around 4.
Yeah, and we had to be back to work.
We were done. Remember those nights?
Oh, yes.
And,
yes. I remember I stayed at a hotel right down the street, and you guys had your apartments, you guys had your houses and everything. But I'd go down to the street, and right before the interstate, there was a Waffle House. I love Waffle House. All my stories with Carolina Crusher, Gary Wiggins. Of course, they start out at Waffle House, you know. But we were going there and eating sometimes 4 in the morning, go lay down, go to sleep, and the alarm get up, 15 minutes, haul butt to get back to work to help everybody else load up. Well, wait a minute. 2 of Jimmy Kohler's trucks were there. They were working on them there. Remember that? They were allowed to park out back.
Everyone was pretty much there.
I'm trying to think who all was there after the
Kohler
Florida
and then
show.
Vaders.
Yep, Mikey. I forgot about Mikey.
Everyone was there.
Yep. And so everybody, every truck that was there at Florida Racing and was going to the next show was there, using the shop, using the facilities, using the guys that were there. I apologize. And getting the trucks ready to go. So it was like the old days. Man, it's so cool. In the old days, if I was out on the road, I would go to other people's house. If I was out west, I'd go to Dave Wyzork's house. Or I would go Scott Anderson's house, where the Arachnophobia. That was a cool truck. The paint job on that truck was a cool truck. Great man, great family. And I'd go out there. California, of course, I'd go to Rick Swanson's. Everybody knows in Texas, I'd go to Pablo's house because Tina Huffaker will let me use her oven and let me help her cook dinner. But everybody had a family. Everybody had somewhere to go to work on the trucks. We didn't have big corporations like that. But then they were, Cheech, help me out on this one too. Another one I should have wrote down. They had it set up to, before a show and after a show, we could go to like a storage building where they rented the storage
like
containers.
A pack rat.
Pack rat.
Yeah, like a pack rat.
That's what it was. So we were going to Pack Rat, and Jesus, I don't know how many memories and pictures I got there. We're at Pack Rat, and Dyke and them are working on, of course, Tom Mentz's truck, totally destroyed every weekend. So I got Crunch ready to go. We got helped out with El Toro Loco. Everybody's helping out with Monster Mutt. Cole Vernard, helping Cole on his trucks. Here's Cheech. I got pictures of Cheech running around carrying shocks on his shoulders, which the shocks are taller than Cheech. Sorry, Cheech. But I got pictures of Cheech coming out of his trailers carrying shocks. He's working on his truck. And I'm walking around to see what everybody needs. And then finally, Dyke goes, hey, he said, you still weld, don't you? And I said, sure. He said, well, I got a couple things for you to help me on. Sure. So went over there, and Shane, do you remember Shane was there with War Wizard, and we're working on the front of the truck.
We put that, he taught me how to put a third member back together.
Yes.
Because we had a third member at the trailer that was like, missing a bearing, but that nowadays for independents, it's easy to fix, but for us, it's just like that. So we just gave him the third member, and he put it all together, and we put it back on War Wizard.
Yep. It was we were just used to taking our stuff apart, rebuilding them, changing lockers, changing bearings, set pinion depth, bam, put them back in the truck. It was nothing for them to rip the ring and pinions out of them. Just change them if you got an old one there. It's got a busted locker. If that housing's busted, just switch stuff back and forth. And we were there, and I remember Shane Preed. Oh, my God, Shane got so lucky. He was picking up on the front of Tom Mentz's truck, Max D. So, and he was trying to pick it up. We're raising the puck up in the coil spring, trying to set it back in place. We set the coil spring in. He had his hands over by it, and they let the jack down real quick, and it got Shane across the top of his fingers. I remember that. It smashed 2 of them flat. He was bleeding like crazy, and we were laughing. All of us trying to get our phone out real quick and video it with Shane screaming and yelling.
So
Brad, I don't know if you
just to
know this.
rephrase this, while this is going on, me, Jackson, Fitchett, we're driving our four-wheelers outside the park.
Yep. Snow like crazy. And they're out riding around, coming in, riding around. And we got to end up welding on Tom Mentz's truck, and I'm laying on my back and belly and up in between the frame. These guys are going through the rear ends and going through the motor. I'm welding on the chassis, welding on the roll bar. I mean, we all got together, and it was great. It just brought back. It was neat to come back. Oh my God, from 1988 or 89 to come back to 2015, and everybody's still together. Everybody working on the trucks to go back out and destroy them again just for the fans. It was awesome. It was awesome. Here it is. I'm going full circle, coming back around, and I've met some great friends. Cheech ended up being a great friend, of course. And me and Cole Vennard, we still talk. I mean, he's in Black Pearl, I believe, again this year. Isn't he, Cheech? I think he's back into Black Pearl.
Yes.
And
yes, he
can
is.
tell stories. I can tell stories about Cole Vennard. I mean, I picked him up going to Tacoma. His mom brought him to a truck stop for us to pull in with the rigs and meet him. And on the way out, Mike Wells goes, "Hey," he said, "we need you to pick up a new crew guy we just hired." And that's why I got my crew guy, with me. I said, and I had Monster Mutt, my truck, and Blue Thunder, and Norm Miller. He would fly in and out. Another great guy. And on the way out there, I'm like, "Well, how come you guys aren't picking him up? That's your crew guy." Oh my God, let's see. Cheech, help me out here.
I think it was Alex Blackwell, wasn't it?
Yes, Alex Blackwell. And oh my God, the digger. Unbelievable. My best friend. And I'm sitting here
Chad
drawing a
Tingler.
blank. Chad Tangler. Well, it was Chad and Alex in the semi truck, both of them driving. I'm the only driver in my semi truck. And we're going along. Well, them two were arguing back and forth. And I started arguing with my crew guy. So I'm on the phone talking to Bobo. Everybody knows Bobo. And I'm sitting there talking to Bobo. And Bobo goes, "Well, if you're having trouble with your crew guy," he goes, "why don't you trade him off with them guys and you go pick up the new guy?" Because they didn't want nothing to do with the new guy. Because you never know about a new guy and how they're going to be and how they're going to react and do at a show. And pulled into the truck stop. And, I'm in my typical wound up mode. It's after midnight. So we pulled in there and I met his mom. I met Cole Vennard. And here's a young, skinny little boy. And we're sitting there talking for a little bit. And I told his mom, I said, "Don't worry about it." I said, "I'll take care of him. I have lotion. He'll be fine." And that's how I met his mom and Cole Vennard. Cole got in the semi truck with me, and here we go, headed to Tacoma. And then everybody knows Tacoma. Same thing you're going to have, Cheech. 5 shows, 3 days is a killer. It's tough. It's hard. It's hard on parts. It's hard on crew guys, drivers, everybody, because we'll do the best show we can. Everything's for the fans. Yep. No matter what, it's for the fans.
Mm-hmm.
And always has been in my heart from the beginning, always will be in my heart till the day I'm gone. And ended up being great friends with Cole Vennard. And the best times. I wouldn't change it for the world. So isn't it so neat? I have a family from the 80s. And now I have a family from the year 2000. And it's 2021, and a couple more days, it's going to be 2022. And I'm still meeting people. My family keeps growing. I don't think, well, not Cheech. Cheech is still going to stay the same size. Sorry, Cheech. But my family keeps growing in the monster truck world. So I'm very proud, very, very, very honored and proud to be in it this long. And I mean, you got guys like Dennis Anderson. Jesus, He's never stopped. At least I had a break from it for a little bit. He has stayed in it from the beginning to now with Kingsling, the ride along truck. My hats are off to him. Now I'm going to pick on him. I'm going to argue with him, just like brothers. I'm going to wear him out for owning a Chevrolet. That is never going to stop. But I got a lot of respect for the man. You know, he has kept it alive in his heart, his business. He's kept it alive for his family. And if you ever get a chance, you go to North Carolina, you got to go to Digger's Dungeon. You got to go to the diner, because I was told Scott Douglas has his own cheeseburger there. I've not had it yet, but I cannot wait to get the Scott Douglas cheeseburger.
Well, hopefully at some point I'm going to be able to meet you, Mike. I know that we've been able to kind of, in a way, have like a friendship throughout the last couple of years doing this podcast. But, if I'm able to make it to the TNT Unfinished Business event, if I'm able to get across the border and with my finances, I'll definitely be there. Is there any last thing you want to say to the people out there before we end it here?
If I can say anything, first of all, it's got to be thank you. I mean, imagine what my wife has put up with for 30 years with me. I got to thank my wife, my kids. It's a lot. It's a lot. I mean, you see us on TV, you see us racing, you see all the glory part of it, but it is hard on families. It is hard on husbands, wives, kids. If I can tell just one more thing, I got a joking side, a kidding side. I'll pick on you to death. But Bucky, you're my witness on this. We have been at a truck stop before. I've left a week before Christmas. I've had my daughter call me on the phone. I would call home every night. And I'm talking to her on the phone at a truck stop. And she's like, Daddy, I don't want no Christmas presents. I don't want nothing. You can take everything. It's back. All I want you to do is just be home for Christmas. That tore me up. That broke my heart. It tore me up. I stood there in the truck stop, and me and Bucky both stood there and cried. It's a lot. It's a lot of pressure. So I'm blessed. I have my kids that have backed me the whole time. My God, I got a wife that has stuck with me through the hardest life there is, from meeting me at a racetrack to meeting me when I was so-called mouthy and wild to now. I got to thank my fans. I got to thank my family deeply. And I got to thank Mike Harper for bringing me back in the Outlaw. But Nick Rossi, buddy, got to thank you for giving me an opportunity, putting me in a truck. I don't know if you're delirious or what, but letting me at your house, at your shop, in the original Jersey Outlaw in the 80s. Buddy, I just got to thank everybody for hanging around, putting up with me, and you've not seen nothing yet. April 15th, April 16th. I don't care who's there. They haven't announced the other drivers. I don't care who it is. First round, Ford versus Chevrolet. Mike Wine versus Carolina Crusher. Gary Porter, you're going down.
You heard it there, everybody. The challenge has been set. Again, Mike, thank you for coming on again. It is a pleasure. We're going to definitely have you on again before the TNT Unfinished Business event. And, hopefully we can get a few more drivers from that and, have a little fireside chat. That'd be an awesome thing to do as well. So, guys, next week it is the pre-recorded episode with Alan Pizzo. And then we'll be live after that. Again, guys, thank you to all our supporters and sponsors: High Octane Coffee, J Concepts, Haw Brothers Racing, MTRC, Justin Stories. The list goes on and on, guys. JB Scale Graphics. It's an honor to be able to do this and talk to a legend like Mike. So, Mike, again, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me very much. Thank you. And hey, happy late Christmas, happy holidays, and soon to be happy New Year.
I hate this internet.
Let me guess. Is it
I see it all the time.
Is it Frontier, Cheech?
I think so.
Hashtag blame Frontier.
Well, good.
That should be
Good,
that should be
Brad.
a shirt. That'll be
I
a
think
shirt.
so.
Hashtag blame Frontier.
Hey, that's okay, Brad. Maybe he didn't hear.
That should
me
be the
say
friend. It
things
says,
to belittle him. You know what I mean, Brad?
oh my.
What'd you say there, Mike?
I said, that's good. Maybe if Cheech didn't hear everything, maybe he didn't hear me say anything to belittle him. I love you, Cheech. Brad.
Oh,
I cannot
thanks
wait.
for lowering my expectations there, Mike. Thanks for lowering my expectations.
I kept telling everybody, you're my little brother. Brad, I can't wait to meet you.
Yeah, can't get any taller.
I can't wait to meet you, Mike. It's definitely on my bucket list, and I'll say this before we end. Being able
I can't
to
wait
do
you,
this,
Mike.
Cheech has got to be there.
he's there somewhere. Being able to do this podcast is allowing me to talk to some of my heroes and legends and people that I didn't know about because I was only born in 91, so I never got to
You're
know
welcome.
who Mike Wine was until when you came and started driving Monster Mutt and stuff like that. So it's an honor to be able to talk with you, and if I'm going to do whatever in my power to make it to that event. So I want to make
You're
it happen.
welcome, Brad. You're welcome.
Thank you, Cheech. But guys,
He had
You're
to get
welcome.
his little digs in there.
but guys, like
Yep.
I said earlier,
Had to put my 2
next
cents
week-
in.
Oh my goodness! So next week it is the recorded episode with Alan Pizzo. You guys can also follow me on social media at the Monster Truck Canucker or just Bradshaw on Facebook. And Cheech has whatever he has going on. I don't know. His carrier pigeons are away for the winter. I know that. What like?
I don't know what that means. Yeah, what does that mean?
It's my short thumb.
Oh,
All right, guys. But Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and hope you guys have a Happy New Year. Be safe out there. And I'll last thing I'll say before we end it. I'm sorry, Cheech. Make sure you check up on your friends and family. Mental health's important.
yes.
If somebody's going through some struggles, check up on them. Like big time, guys, especially what's going on right now in the world. Just make sure you guys do that. And, as we always say on the podcast, everybody, keep the rubber side down and the shiny side up. Peace.